What's up, guys? Welcome back to Unqualified Critics. So, as you know, if you're on this stream, you know what it is. We've got Third Floor Arcade with Jason. Jason, do I call you Third Floor Arcade? Do I call you Jason? Do I call you Third Floor Arcade
You
with
just call me
Jason?
Jason.
Okay.
Jason's good. Thanks for having me on, UC. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on. So, I imagine a lot of people have already seen it, but you did a review of the Street Fighter 2 or Capcom Legacy Cabinet, whatever we're officially supposed to call that, and then the Legacy Cabinet for Mortal Kombat. And I love that you've been able to play both of them. I have like a lot of real split opinions on them because I tell you, when they launched, I thought, damn, for $3.99, for the really cool artwork that you get, in my opinion, with the Street Fighter cab that's behind you, certainly for the games list on both are really dope. Like beyond anything Arcade1up's done before, other than I know the Cocktail Capcom Arcade1up has the exact same games list as what's behind you. I own it; it's great. But these are games that weren't really designed for split screen. So you're getting it stand up. So on that side, it looked amazing. But on the other hand, there were some design concessions. But basically with your reviews, I think what I heard was, hey, the overall, this is really a recommend at $3.99. But do you just want to give any kind of summary on that machine behind you, that Street Fighter cabinet?
So the Street Fighter, the first thing that drew me to the Street Fighter is obviously just the eye appeal of it. The World Warrior, I just think this is like one of the most iconic arcades from back in the day. For that, at that price tag of $3.99, I think it's a great deal. Especially, you're getting 12 solid Capcom games. I actually even like the game lineup better on the Mortal Kombat, but I know there's definitely some design flaws with this. I didn't even really mention it in the review when I did it. The first one is the raised ledge. I know a lot of people are calling it Ledge Gate.
Ledge Gate, man, damn it! I wanted to get out in front of that and call it Wing Gate, but apparently I've been had.
But honestly, like when I'm playing Street Fighter, my hand just kind of rests over the ledge. I know a lot of people are kind of raising up the control deck to to level it out. But
do you feel the need to do that at all, to raise the control deck?
I'm not going to do it, but I mean, I understand why some people are going to do it. But my main concern is with having your hand on that yellow border. Is that paint going to wear off over time? Or is it going to start peeling off? I think there was a YouTuber already saying that he's already noticing wear on the side of that. I think it was Fishbee Productions.
Is that the normal tape that they apply to the borders of the normal Arcade1up? Because they've changed some of their materials, so I don't want to take anything for granted.
It is, yeah. I think it is the exact same.
Okay.
But
by the way, I want to give a shout out to 19K Fox. So he's been putting out some good content lately too on this stuff. Definitely. So if you guys watch me, if you guys watch Jason, you probably want to check his channel out if you haven't already. But yeah, man,
Fox, he does some great YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, he's been blowing up lately, man. Shout out to 19K. So I agree with you on the artwork, and it is iconic. But man, something I didn't notice until a viewer pointed out, and I went back and rewatched your review. The control panel artwork is not World Warrior. What's up with that shit? Like, how did they get that wrong? And here, I'm gonna put up the.
Sure? I actually thought it was the right.
No, it's not. I'm gonna put up an image.
Seen, World Warriors in the past, they had this actually exact control deck. But as far as like the, I don't know, I would love to see like what you're talking about.
Yeah, if I can get this open. They keep changing how StreamYard works with sharing stuff, so this should work. Let me share this out.
So the other, my biggest complaint actually with the cabinet is the overall height. It seems like it's like an inch or two shorter, and with the tilt of the screen, like if you're playing this standing up, like the pretty much like an inch or two is going to be cut off, like the top of the monitor, which isn't really ideal. Like if you're playing Street Fighter, the energy bar is almost cut off. If you're standing up.
Let's come back to that in a sec, but real quick. So I have up an image of an original machine or some, I don't know, maybe this is some weird variant, but this is what.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
This is what it should be looking like, and I didn't notice it at all because all the footage I had seen of the cabinet was basically straight on, and of course they don't angle the control panel downward, which is fine. It's probably harder to build it that way. Although I also don't get why they don't do that because Golden Tee did have a slight downward angle. You own Golden Tee too, right, Jason?
Yeah, big fan of the Golden Tee cab.
Yeah, man, that cabinet's nice. So they got the artwork a little goofed. and then they carry that over into the software. So every time you're in between games and it shows you the controls, it's going to show you that, you know, that standard Street Fighter artwork, the newer iteration of the Street Fighter 2, not this original gen hardware. So I thought that was an odd oversight, but I'm with you. Overall, the cabinet looks really nice.
Yeah, I love the side panels. The marquee looks pretty sick, I think, too.
So they're using a new marquee, right? Which it's a little bit thinner. I guess I'm off camera here, but it's a little bit thinner than the normal ones. Have you noticed a difference with the light distribution? Because if you've got the LED strip in there and you've got less distance between LEDs and then the plastic fascia of the deal, you're gonna have less light distribution just on paper. But when I saw your video, it looked great. So do you have any thoughts on that?
I didn't really notice any difference. Definitely, though, on the Mortal Kombat, it looks a little washed out. But the Street Fighter, I think, looks exactly like all the other Arcade1ups.
Interesting.
But somebody was telling me that the Mortal Kombat, the version from Costco, is kind of washed out too. So it might just be that.
Yeah, I believe it is. I haven't seen it in person, but I've seen a ton of footage, and it looked washed out to me.
But what do you think? Are you getting one of these legacy cabs? Yeah.
I think you've got some demand for your girlfriend in the chat, my guy. Is it girlfriend or wife, by the way? Because I've seen some of your videos where you've introduced her, and I couldn't remember, but girlfriend or wife?
She's girlfriend, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I got it right when I referred to her. But you guys have done some videos together, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I try to get her involved. You know, I usually have to drag her up here trying to get her to play some of these games. But yeah, we did like a Galaxian versus Galaga, like a couples challenge. I'm trying to think what else we did. We did like a Miss Pac-Man. Like she's playing Miss Pac and I'm doing Pac-Man. Just seeing you get a higher score. But yeah, it's been a while since we've done those.
Nice.
Have to get her up here for some Street Fighter, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So, like I mentioned, I have the cocktail cabinet, same games list, but it's split screen now. So, as you probably know this, Jason, and probably a lot of people in the chat know this too. The cocktails from 1UP, they got the standard 17 screen. So, you're getting down to a really small image when you're playing these games. So, to me, what's so compelling about the Street Fighter 2 is you get finally the full screen experience with all this stuff. But you know, when we talk about the lack of design tilt, monitor tilt, and then the fact that and I wanted to ask you if this was your experience. I know some people on Facebook had this experience that the bezel artwork is actually chopped off, and I can't quite tell from the footage right now. I made the camera larger. Is that your experience, or does the artwork extend all the way up?
You mean the top part of the bezel you're talking
about? Yeah, so do you see where the character portraits are lined up?
Yeah, it is. I actually just noticed that now for the first time. It is a little bit.
So it's got me kind of second. It makes me feel like I kind of want to stick with my cocktail, but my cocktail does not look as cool as that.
So the cocktail table, what games are on that? Is it the exact same game lineup?
Exact same, yeah.
Okay, so you got Commando on there?
Yeah, man, which I suck at that game. And you said you like it, so you need to school me on how the hell to play Commando because I'm terrible at it.
I've been playing a lot of Commando this week, and man, it is tough. That was just designed to just eat your money.
It's a tough game. And that's the one game that actually makes sense on the cocktail because it's portrait mode. Yeah, right. So it fits the cocktail. By the way, what's P-Dubs on about here with a fern plant? What's this about?
So with my whenever I do like a review on Arcade1up, I have like this spot in my dining room. I basically build the machine downstairs and then I do the review in my dining room, and there's like this fake fern plant. So I always got that next to the
nice.
But,
that's deep.
That's what he's talking. He's always busting on me for the.
That's deep lore of the third floor arcade. Like you got to start messing with that now. Next time, have it be something else. Like it's every time it's like
behind me. I got the big buck world cabinet.
Yeah.
So I did that review up in the game room, and it just didn't feel right, without that setup.
Without the fern. So, dude, tell me what got you into this, because I find everybody's kind of got their own way they got into it. The common way is you grew up playing this stuff, and here it is. And maybe that's what it is. But what got you into the home arcade stuff? What got you into pulling your girlfriend into this, making YouTube videos, like all that? What's that backstory?
So the first cab I got, I've always been a huge Street Fighter fan. So what was like the first batch they had? They had like Asteroids, Centipede, Street Fighter.
They had the 12-in-1. They had the
But
12 and 1. Yeah, they had Galaga Pac-Man, and they had Street Fighter, which I think you mentioned. And then technically Final Fight. It wasn't out at that time, but it was the first gen hardware.
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Basically, I was just wandering through Walmart and saw Street Fighter 2. I was like, oh man, that's so cool. And that was my first one. And then like a lot of other people that have these, just like it went from there. So I got 15 of them now, but I think I've sold probably like 4 or 5 so far.
Yeah, I've only sold 2, but I'm with you. You got to kind of cycle them out. You actually didn't know anything about these. You just saw them as a retail shop, or that was your first experience?
Pretty much, yeah. And then a buddy of mine had the Galaga, and he actually, when I bought the Street Fighter, he came over and we built the Street Fighter, and yeah, and I just thought it was awesome just to have, you know, a Street Fighter cabinet at the house. I've always been a huge, you know, late 80s, early 90s. I was always in the arcades. Just, you know, just love that scene from back in the day.
Yeah, everybody's got their era, you know, like that formative era when you were doing this. And like if you're a wrestling fan, you've got your era. If you're an arcade fan, you've got your era. And that's just what it is. But it's nice that to be able to span these eras. And for me, it's been nice to play games that maybe weren't around in my era as much. Like I missed them, and so now I can go back to them. But it's both. Like it's fun to be able to replay stuff you played too.
Yeah, sometimes like those really old games, like from the early 80s, they have the best replay value, you know, like Miss Pac-Man and, you know, Centipede and all that. It's just games that you never really get tired of.
When you think about the memory constraints when they were designing those games to make something with such little variety, so few assets, from the sound effects to the vectors or the whatever, the rasters, whatever the graphics are made of, it's all so little, right? To take that and make it something you want to keep replaying. I mean, absolute artwork and amazing. That's a lot of newer games, or even like 90s arcade games, which I like a lot of 90s arcade games, but they don't have the replayability. And to me, it makes it all the more impressive, those old school games where people figured it out to where you couldn't stop playing. You wanted to keep it, even though it's the same thing every time. I mean, not exactly the same thing, but like Pac-Man, the logic is the same, the patterns that are there, but it's still very fun to replay. It's amazing.
Totally. Yeah. So how many cabs are you up to now? I saw, oh yeah, by the way, I saw your Attack from Mars video. And you did the nice little tour there. Game room was pretty good.
Man, I really wanted to do HDMI capture footage from Mars, and I couldn't because my effing card doesn't work with it. It doesn't work with any hardware I need it to work with. So apparently I need a capture card. But it did this really weird thing when I took the HDMI out of the PCB. So it's got a million PCBs, but it plugs into the PCB that's in the back box. I took it out of that, plugged it into my capture card, tried to capture, got a blank screen, put it back in. What it did was, and I have footage of this, I should post it sometime. It took the entire 24-inch playfield display and compressed it into the DMD display so you could play pinball on the little DMD. Now, it was all warped and stretched. It looked like shit, but it was a really weird bug. And then all I needed to do to reset it was turn it on and off again. But it's this weird thing where if you plug that into something else, and not every time, but in some cases, it messes with the display. But I like that machine a lot. And I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes I'll post a review and then I'm playing it for the review. And then I get done, I do my review. And then I start just playing it for fun. And a few weeks later, my opinion sometimes kind of morphs. You ever experience that?
Oh man, you're freezing up on me.
I'm freezing up? That's odd. Hey, can you hear me? Let us know in the chat if I'm freezing up. My internet's pretty solid.
There we go. You're back.
Okay. I don't know if you heard anything I said or not.
No, yeah. I probably missed like 10 seconds of it.
I was just saying, does your opinion ever change after you post a review and you get back to playing it for fun then?
I feel like with the reviews, I need to become I got to just get better at the games. Like a lot of times I'll do a review it's like the first time I played the game in like 10 years or 15 years or whatever. And totally suck, but like Commando, like man, that was in my review, I was just getting like first shot, I was dead pretty much. But definitely a lot better now than playing it for a few days.
Well, that's the challenge though, because if you wait too long, your review will get less views. So you got to do it quick. True. You almost don't have time unless you're already fresh on those games. You almost don't have time.
Yeah, it's definitely true. So I got a question about the Attack from Mars.
Yeah, hit me.
So there's been a couple reports of like high score. Have you hit like a high score on there? Is it saved? Can you enter your name?
I haven't been asked to enter my name, but it's a good question. So I've read about that and I hadn't paid attention to it before then. I can't tell you for sure that I have hit a high score. I would think I would have because I played a few of the tables a fair bit and put up what I thought were pretty decent scores. But I haven't tested that scenario to like make sure, yes, I'm hitting a high score and has it saved. I still need to figure that out. I didn't know it was an issue till after my review. It looks like Jason's freezing up a little bit. Jason, you got internet issues, my dude? Can you hear me?
20 days ago, P-Dub was, I think, like first. Oh yeah. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you. Your video is frozen, but you're good. Here, while
all right,
well, there you go. Now I'm good.
All right. Yeah. So what I was saying with the attack from Mars.
Here, you're cutting out again while you get that sorted.
Enter like the first, or it does it twice.
You have to say it again. It cut out, my man. Here, I'm going to put up some footage from Jason's review of the Capcom. I wanted to show this anyway. And Jason, if you can hear me, man, check out your Wi-Fi real quick.
All right.
Hang on, guys. I'm still here. So this is footage from Jason's video that he took. And I guess there's the there's
What's up,
the
guys? Welcome back to
P-Dubs was
Third
talking
Floor
about.
Arcade.
Turn this volume
Jason.
down. So, I mean, my thought when I see it is it looks really good. It just what I've heard from folks is that the quality of the artwork's a little worse, which you kind of expect from, you know, it's a $399 price point. You're getting all these games. You're getting in some ways improved hardware over Gen 1. So I think it's okay to make these concessions, but man, this is what I can't get with is this vertical screen. That's, to me, that's just like, you're not even saving money with that. I'm okay with reducing some of the quality, you know, to hit a price point, but I don't really understand the vertical screen. It makes no sense to me. It looks like Jason's back. Jason, I've got your review up. This is something I want to talk about, the display and its tilt. So, you know, I don't know. Do you remember when they leaked the example artwork for the Miss Pac-Man and it had the fully recessed, fully tilted backward display? Do you remember that at all?
I do, yeah.
So when I saw that, dude, I got so hyped. And then, of course, that wasn't the final product. But they talked about, hey, we're trying to go in this direction. We're trying to do a properly tilted display. But what's up with this? I feel like it's going backward.
I feel like when they designed this, they definitely designed this for, you know, playing this sitting on the stools. I think they definitely screwed that part up. Like if you're standing up and playing this, I'm like 5'11", but if you're like over 5'10", you're playing Street Fighter, like the top 2 inches of the monitor are pretty much you know, not visible.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
If they did like just,
if they would have tilted the screen back, or if they would have made the riser like a couple inches taller, I think it would have been totally fine. But
by the way, Bobby Broadway's calling you out, man. He said, make sure your lady's not starting to stream a movie or something.
that's a good possibility, actually. She's down watching Netflix or something. So,
do you find yourself playing this on a stool or standing up, given that concession?
I mean, I always play these sitting down on a stool. I think I have like 10 of these Arcade1up stools.
Yeah.
I just think it's more comfortable sitting down playing these. So, I mean, the issue of the screen being blocked isn't that bad, you know, if you're, you know, as long as
because you're sitting. But I think that's important for people to know. Like like you said, if you're 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot beyond, you're probably going to want to sit. I've heard that from a lot of other people too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they did that, but you know, overall, like I said before, I'm a fan of the Legacy Cab.
Yeah,
definitely. It seems like whenever Arcade1up rolls out, you know, a new machine, there's always some kind of issue. And, you know, the big issue with the Legacy Cabs is just the overall height, you know, and the those raised edges. But
Well, now that you've been playing the Midway cabinet, do you have any favorite standout games? Because you noted in your review you hadn't played all of these before, but
Right.
now that
So
you've had more time with it.
Tubin is definitely cool. It's super hard
Good
to
game.
get used to the controls, but once you get the controls down, it's good. But I think the sleeper game on this cab is Wizard of War. I don't know. Have you ever tried that, UC?
No, I've heard really good things about it. It's on my list of games I need to go play to get caught up. But you see, you've been enjoying it though.
Definitely a cool game. Yeah, it's like how do I describe it? It's kind of like a Pac-Man setting, but you're a guy with a zapper running around like different dungeons. Just got to going after the enemies. It's definitely a cool game. Super addicting.
Awesome.
And it's 2-player as well at the same time, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I got to get Lucy to start playing that game.
Yeah, man.
Cool. I think there's a good variety of games on especially the Midway cab.
So it sounds like you don't have any problems with this, but when I started buying these, so my girlfriend would say, why the hell are you buying these? And I know a lot of the guys in the chat and stuff can relate because I see comments, people have that problem. And I literally had this conversation with my girlfriend right when Outrun, I don't know if you were following, Outrun got like clearanced out to $200 at some Walmarts, but not a lot of them.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't even see that.
It didn't last for very long, obviously, but I went out hunting for it and I said, listen, I'm going to get this Outrun cabinet. I was kind of on the fence about it, but at $200, holy crap. So I go out hunting and I'm checking the app and calling stores and doing all these things. And I find only 2 stores in my area have it, but it's full price. It's $500, which, as we know, they've upped the price. So that's not necessarily a bad deal, but it's full price. Anyway, I come home with this giant box I can barely fit my arms around and carry. It's like the largest Arcade1up box other than probably the pinball. And she says, oh man, you got it, $200. And I said, now it's 500. And she's like, you need to return that shit. And we had just had a conversation about how, like, why do you have to do that? Like, dude, let's just be glad we're having stuff.
Like, I just had those 2 legacy cabs delivered in the same week. And the girlfriend wasn't liking that. But,
why do they do that to us, man? We need to go into their places when they get like their second purse and be like, what the hell is this? You have a purse. Why are you getting your second purse? So, like, we need to give some back, dude. I feel like we're always getting questioned.
It's crazy. And then, like, in a couple of weeks, I think I got the new II arcade coming too. So it's like, I'm going to have to hide it.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk to you about that. Take a look at this real quick. So I was watching Jong's stream. So do you ever watch him stream on Facebook?
Yeah, he's good. I love streams.
He posted, let me put this up real quick.
I love how he does like the top 20 or top 10 sold.
Man, you read my mind. That's exactly what I'm going to put up on screen. It's going to be a little bit blurry because his stream wasn't super high res, but hopefully you guys can read that. But here's what I thought was wild about this. This is the first time I really watched his stream other than just come in, pop out real quick. So I hadn't seen these top 10s before. By the way, shout out to Deputy Van Halen, man. These purses are out of control. Us guys, we don't say anything and we want to have our stuff. I got 2 Xbox Series consoles in the house and that's overkill. No, it's not. All right. So, dude, look at this list. So I don't know if you can read this, but Oddmar is number 1, Riptide, Dragon's Lair 2, Dead Cells, Dead Effect 2, Strikers 1945, which is a 90s era arcade game, shoot 'em up, Double Dragon 2, Wonder Boy, Rage of the Dragons, I don't know what that is, and then of course Space Ace. This list was really not what I expected, and I always, I like my arcade. I'm kind of pointing to it off camera. It's over here. I like it, but I always felt like it missed the mark on nostalgia. But maybe that's the point, because look at this list, man. There's nothing to do with it. I mean, there are a few nostalgic games here, but like Oddmar is a phone game. Riptide GP is like a modern racing game.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I like that Riptide game. I haven't tried it yet, but
it's a lot of fun, actually.
So yeah, with the iArcade, I'm really hoping they can put Streets of Rage 4 or that new Turtles game on there. I think that would just, I think they would sell a ton of those if they can get those licenses. But
absolutely.
But yeah, I hear you on the top 10. Like some of those games. What was the new big one that was just released? Not Space Ace, the one like last week.
Dragon's Lair 2 was. Oh, well, I don't know other than Dead Cells 2. Yeah, there you go, Dead Cells.
I haven't tried that yet, but definitely looks pretty cool. That's like the game that looks kind of like Castlevania.
Yeah, it kind of
Like
it's a little bit deeper. I mean, it's a modern game. It's a few years old. It's not, 30 years old.
Yeah.
And it is really fun. I haven't beaten it yet, but I've played it for probably, I don't know, 45 minutes. I had one issue where it froze up and crashed, and then I wasn't able to get it to do that again. And they told me that hasn't been a widespread issue, so it might have just been a one-off. But I've enjoyed playing it. But my point is, I'm wondering if I looked at iArcade wrong. Like I looked at it as a machine where you buy retro games, but now I'm wondering, is this actually a machine where you play newer games in the arcade format?
Direction. Yeah, definitely. But
it does.
I mean, they do have some really good classics, but I feel like they need to get some more of those big titles.
Yeah,
like Street Fighter or something like that on there. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I think that'd be pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I think it could happen. I think they could work with Sega. I think they could get the licensing for other large arcade companies. I don't think that's a problem. I just think we already have so many ways to play Street Fighter. But what would be cool is, can you play Street Fighter 5 on it? Like you can,
yeah, that'd be cool.
You could play Street Fighter 5 on the Legends Ultimate, but you got to stream it. But what if you could play it natively or a version of it natively in the arcade? That'd be pretty badass.
Yeah, that'd definitely be pretty cool. Are you getting that Retro Mania Wrestling?
Yes, I think I'm going to get it. I've heard mixed reviews about it, but it looks awesome, and it looks like they put a lot of love into it. So I'll probably buy it.
I hear it's like really hard to get used to, get the controls down. It's
We'll have to see, man. I don't know. I haven't seen much of it other than like some summary reviews. But what are the game like? What put you over the edge to buy the iArcade? What makes you want to have it?
I think the main thing was just like the components, the quality. I like how the speakers were. The sound there, is really good on there. I'm trying, like, definitely that Riptide game. I'll probably end up buying like 10 games, like right off the bat for it. What was that other game? Fix 8. You ever play Fix 8?
No.
That's pretty good. It's kind of like a Shock Troopers type game. There was like a handful of games. I thought, I figure if I get those 10 games, and then with the included games, it's worth it.
Yeah, you'll definitely want to fill it out with the games it comes with. I mean, it's a good starting point. I can see what they did where they give you variety, but you're immediately going to want to be buying more games, which is smart. I mean, that's what they need. Yeah. They're not trying to just sell the cabinet. They need to keep it moving with transactions, but be ready to put some money down to fill that games list out. This sounds like you already are. You there, Jason, or are you cutting out? Your girlfriend's firing up Netflix again.
Man, you're cutting out on me.
It's you cutting out, my dude. Can you hear me though? All right, looks like Jason will be back in a minute. There you go. You're in. I got you now.
I can hear you. It's a little choppy. Can you hear me?
You got that 10 megabits playing, my dude? Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I can hear you. I don't know if that's my end. Is that?
It probably. I have pretty strong internet, but anything's possible. Probably. But anyway, man, I'm glad to hear you're getting the iArcade. You'll have to keep me posted which games you play. They have Windjammers too. You probably saw that, and I know you have an NVSX, but
hold on, let me reset this.
Yeah, go ahead.
There we go.
Let me know when you're good. I'm going to put up your review. All right, guys. So for anyone who just tuned in, yeah, take your time, Jason. So for anyone who just tuned in, we're talking with Jason from Third Floor Arcade, just about arcade gaming in general. So he just ordered an iArcade. I have an iArcade. We were going through some of the top best-selling. I think they're best-selling to date, but they have an updated list every month of titles on iArcade. And I was surprised to see a lot of newer games, some phone games, not necessarily the classic arcades as much, although there's a little bit of that. But I thought that was kind of interesting. I assumed if iArcade can't win with retro games that they wouldn't be able to get very far. But I'm starting to think maybe I'm wrong and that the market for these other types of games are bigger than maybe I expected. Jason, can you hear us?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My internet sucks.
It's all right, man.
All right.
We got that Midwest internet going.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, man. But yeah, so I guess what else do you want to talk about on either the Midway or the Street Fighter Legacies? I know you're happy with your purchase. is there anything now that you've had more time to play it that you want people to know about, that, you know, they're thinking about buying it, they're debating, and, you know, they know some of the downsides maybe, but what would you tell them?
I think it's definitely worth it, especially at $399. You know, a lot of these cabs now, like I just spent, I think it was the Golden Axe cab was like 500. You know, that only had like 5 games on it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good deal at 400. You know, it's not perfect. You know, that the raised edges definitely, I think that's kind of overblown, but I don't know. Overall, I think it's a good buy at 400, especially, you know, if you're a Street Fighter fan and you want that look in your game room. I think it's definitely worth it. And I actually like the game lineup even better on the Midway cab. I think they're both pretty good.
There's a lot of variety in the Midway cab, there's no doubt. Have you gotten any better at playing Paperboy with the joystick, or is that still awkward?
I actually haven't played Paperboy that much. I've been hooked on that Wizard of War.
Okay.
Just playing the Mortal Kombat's on there, but yeah, Paperboy. Yeah, I was pretty bad on that.
Man, for me, Paperboy's in this category where my unpopular opinions of games that a lot of people love, and I never want to take that away from anyone or tell them they're wrong, because they're not. But my opinion, Paperboy, and even, God help me in the chat, but Tron, they're not games I really love that much. But I know they're iconic. I know people love them. But Paperboy is something I probably wouldn't play a whole lot on here, especially with the joystick.
I was pretty bad at Root Beer Tapper on here too.
Dude, that's a really fun game though. If you practice at it and get better,
definitely a lot better than what I was on that review.
Nice.
I didn't realize you could run down the bar and grab.
Yep.
S's.
I remember when I first figured that out too. I was like, "Holy shit, this changes the whole way I'm going to play this game." When you learn that you can go down the bar, yeah, absolutely.
It's a shame they couldn't use the Budweiser logo on there.
I know,
but
and I'm not surprised by that. But
so another issue I want to talk about with you. What do you think about? Do you think Arcade1up is ever going to sell these replacement parts?
Dude, if they don't, we have to, as a community. We have to. So, do you mean like in general, or like the pinballs? Because I've been on these pinball replacement parts for.
I'm talking about like in general. I know a lot of people have been waiting like for a year, like for you know, like a Golden Tee board or whatever. I know I would love to get some extra guns for the big buck.
Yep, me too.
That's forever. It'd be nice to have a couple backups.
I know. So my perspective has been, when they launched their standard joystick and button arcade games, which is what probably most people have, if you have an Arcade1up, that's most likely what you have. You know, if stuff goes wrong on that, other than the PCB, it can be replaced. Even the monitor, even though they use that funky LVDS, there are ways to build around it as stuff breaks. And stuff breaks. It's just how the world works when you have moving parts, except the PCBs. When we get into Buck Hunter, when we get into especially pinball, you got more complexity, you have more proprietary parts. You can't just go out and replace the damn thing in any normal way. So they need to sell the parts. And I get frustrated. I see comments of people say, "Hey, it's not a big deal. So what? You know, if your pinball dies, just put a PC in there." Like, no, that's baloney. We have to hold them accountable for, if you're going to sell these parts, you need to support them with replacement parts for some. I'm not saying forever, but some amount of time. It can't just be, "Hey, we sold it and we moved on. We're done with pinball," because these machines are big and heavy. Buck Hunter's big and heavy, but dude, these pinballs are, I think they weigh like 90 pounds on paper, but they feel like more than 90 pounds. Like they're really nice. And I'm happy for them. And I feel the same with that games. They get let off the hook on replacement parts, but I've read tons of comments of people that cannot get a hold of their support, have nightmare issues. So I think they have support issues too that they need to address. And, you know, they mostly are buttons and sticks and roller balls and whatever, trackball, stuff you can replace.
Have you had to go through their customer service yet?
No, I never had, because I could just contact them. So I don't know firsthand what their service is like. Yeah. I've read from some people they've had okay experiences, but I've read from other people it's been months and they don't hear anything back.
Yeah.
Totally. But to answer,
early on in the process, like years ago, I ordered a Pac-Man, and the joystick was just it wouldn't go left or right.
Are you talking about the 1-up Pac-Man?
Yeah, the Arcade1up Pac-Man, and this is back when you could actually call them and somebody would answer the phone.
Yep.
And now it's all the tickets and all that. But yeah, luckily I haven't really had any issues with the newer ones. But Yeah, it sounds like a nightmare, if you have a problem.
Yeah, so my experience with One Up support has been it's improved. Now, I don't always know the person I'm talking to if they know that I cover their products. I think sometimes they do and sometimes they don't if I'm just talking to like a support tech. But so it's possible I'm getting better treatment, but I don't think I am. I think their support has actually improved.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of okay with their customer service lately, the last several months. I'm just saying if we get Buck Hunter, it's a year from now and our rifles stop working. I had my issue with my one rifle. They sent me a replacement. But a year from now, we're going to have problems if I can't buy a replacement rifle. And like you said, I think a lot of people feel the way you do. They like to stock up on replacement parts, and just feel like, okay, I've got this. So if something breaks, I'm good.
Totally. So let me ask you another thing.
Yeah.
If you could pick 3 cabs that you want from Arcade1up, what would it be?
Like future cabinets?
Yeah.
Man, I don't think about that too much. So I don't know if I have a good answer. I guess I'd probably be Lethal Enforcers and Daytona for racing and shooting. And I have a lot of shooting games I want to see, but probably Lethal be number 1 because I have a lot of it. It's not the world's greatest light gun game, but I have a ton of nostalgia for it. So
same here. I love that game.
Oh, you like that game too, huh?
Love it. Yeah.
Nice. Did you play it in the arcade? Because when I was a kid, we had very few light gun games, but we had Lethal.
Yeah, and then there was Lethal Enforcers 2, right? And I think there was another one, I thought.
There were on that. I think there was a sequel, but I don't think I ever played it. I think I only ever played 1.
Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of that. I would get that. If they did Lethal Enforcers, I'd be down for that.
And I'd probably, if I had to pick a third, if I had more time to think about it, I wouldn't go with a third light gun game. But off the top of my head, I think I got to go Area 51 because that's another game that is it a super great? No, I mean it's definitely a product of its time, but I like the look of that game, man. That's a cool game.
Yeah.
What would you go with?
I think my number 1 would probably be like a Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' World, and Cruisin' Exotica. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, good picks.
What else? I have a feeling they're going to do a Simpsons cab too, but
100%.
Yeah, maybe put like Sunset Riders on there. I'd probably end up getting that, but I don't know how I'm going to fit it, but definitely be a cool cab.
I'm worried about that too, the space. So I'm curious what you're going to get this summer. I think I'm going to get X-Men. I'm debating if I want to get Killer Instinct or not. I don't like. I'm not really that hype on fighting games, just personally. But I like Killer Instinct. It was one of my favorite fighters back in the day. So I might get it or might not. But I almost definitely going to get X-Men. But I don't know where I'm going to put another 4-player cab.
Yeah, I hear you.
What are you planning to get?
X-Men cab. My only issue with that is I think they should have put like another really good game on there, like I don't know, Spider-Man or something. But what's the other game on that? I forget.
They've got a title on there. It's
Captain America or something.
It's Captain America and the Avengers. I think it's not a game I'd played.
I just wish they would have like another game on there, but it looks awesome, especially with the Wi-Fi. I think it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, going on there and playing with everybody. I don't know. I might have to like sell my Turtles cab or something to be able to fit that in here. But
yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be selling their Turtles cab. And honestly, I think X-Men will be in the same boat a year later because it's just not the replayability. They're really cool to have and they look great. But
totally. Another cab I'd be high on is the Street Fighter Alpha. They did that with Wi-Fi. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have the Marvel vs. Capcom?
No, man.
That's a pretty good one.
I know, and I like Marvel versus Capcom. My problem with that is I already have the Marvel Limited Edition. Do you remember that one with the yellow trim?
Oh, yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, so I like that cab. It's got all Sandwalk controls. I love it. It's got Punisher, super dope. It's got Children of the Atom. It's got obviously Marvel superheroes. Yeah, so here it is on your video, actually, as we're talking about it. So I really like that cabinet. I know they're different games, but I am limited on space, so I had a hard time justifying another fighting game that was similarly themed, a little bit of overlap in the games list. So I ended up not getting it, but I wanted it, but I just had to make that choice. So what I'm going to try to do over the next probably 2 years, I'm building a house on some land, and I'm going to have a larger basement. And so I want to get to the place where I don't have to worry about space and I can just have 30 arcades if I want. But right now where I am, I really can't have that many.
Yeah. I feel like my room here, I'm pretty much maxed out at like 15 machines. Like
that's where I am.
unless I start building down the center of the room, but then there's really be like no, room to move around. But yeah, 15 seems like the max over here.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, I think I might be up to 13. I have room for a little bit more, but probably not more than 15. So to me, it's going to be about cycling out old cabinets, getting rid of them. I might get this Tempest cabinet, and I might get rid of my Asteroids.
Yeah, I love
Trying
that.
to figure that out.
I think that
looks good. Did you notice? So I thought this was really interesting. Since back on the topic of these legacies, the Pac-Man Legacy screen is somewhat tilted, which I thought was weird that they'd be different than the Street Fighter and the Mortal Kombat. And then I can't tell from the Tempest if it's tilted or not because we just have renders to go off of. So I'm kind of waiting to see that before I make a decision.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that Pac-Man Legacy, it doesn't have the raised edges, right? I think it has the
it's got
the same side panels as the 40th anniversary.
Exactly. So it doesn't have the raised edges. It has the same concept where the side panels box in the control panel, but it doesn't matter because, as I mentioned in my video the other day, your hands are centered to the control panel. You're not off playing one player and two players, so it's okay. And same thing with Tempest.
Yeah. Did you say you did order that Tempest, or you're on the fence?
I'm on the fence, man. They need to come out and tell us if the screen is recessed. I think if the screen is tilted, I'm going to do it. But like you mentioned, you're all about sitting on the stools and playing.
Yeah.
So for me, I have 5 stools, but 4 of them are just the low stools for 2 cocktails. Okay. So if I'm playing the vertical cabs, like what are behind you, I'm always standing. So I really need that screen to be tilted and kind of more normalized. If it's completely vertical, to me, that's probably enough to get me to pass.
I feel like the problem with the way Arcade1up is doing the pre-orders, like I feel like if you don't order that, if you don't already have a pre-order for Tempest, it's going to take forever to get that.
That's probably true, and that's. I asked the question, is this intentional or not? I tend to think probably not. We all know prices are going up on components, shipping's tough. Like we've all heard all those stories. And it's true. I mean, these are real challenges right now. But other companies are shipping product. Like I don't know what the unique challenges are that OneUp can't get product out there. But it kind of puts you in a tough spot because you have to decide, do I want to jump in and buy it and then hope it's good, or do I want to wait for Jason to review it or someone else on YouTube to review it and then make my decision? But you can't always wait because you feel like you got to hurry up and jump on it or it's going to be sold out. Yeah,
it's definitely getting harder to get these things. That's for sure.
Yeah. So what are, you've got 15 and I want to ask you to name them all, but like, what are a couple of the ones that you really spend the most time playing?
That's a good question. Definitely the Marvel versus Capcom. And I think that's because it has the Wi-Fi on there. It's a ton of fun going on there, playing everybody. But
you're just really working hard to get me to regret not buying it, man. I see what you're doing.
My only complaint is, man, everybody that's on that
is good.
Oh my god, yeah, they're so good. I think my record on X-Men vs Street Fighter is like 10-60. It's not very good.
That'd be about like me if I was on NBA Jam playing online. I think all the scrubs like myself stick to offline play on these games. And then you get the badasses are on there playing online, and it just makes us all look bad.
Yeah, man, I can't believe how good the people are on it. Definitely the Golden T Cab, and what else? Probably the Golden Axe Cab. They're probably my top 3.
Yeah, all right, so let me ask you this. I want to see if you agree with me or if I'm crazy. So I've been trying to get OneUp to do a software update for Golden Axe.
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. All right, so and I'll say it for people who don't know, and you feel free to disagree with me too. Maybe I'm picky here. So you got a 4-player control panel. For those of you that have NBA Jam, as a 4-player, you can go up and pick any spot that you want. And I'm like OCD about picking different spots, so I wear the controls out evenly. It's super stupid, but that's what I do. So you can go up and you can pick your game and you can manage it. On Golden Axe, you always have to be way over to the left, even if you're playing over here, because let's say you're playing Shinobi, you have to actually play the second joystick in because you can't use the far left to play Shinobi, and that's fine. But when you want to set the game up and pick Shinobi from the game menu, you got to be over here on the far left. That pisses me off. Yeah. But you tell me, man, am I crazy? Like, what do you think?
I totally agree. Actually, I mentioned that in the review that I did on that. It's just awkward, especially first time using it. You're like, what's going on here? But that should be a simple fix, you would think.
Extremely simple. Yeah. And I haven't gotten a response when I reach out to them other than, well, we'll consider it maybe, but nothing firm at all. It's an amazing cabinet. Like, get it if you get the chance. But did you get one on the initial run, or did you have to
I
do the
did.
game
Yeah, I
stop?
was as soon as that went live for pre-order, I ordered that one. I think it was cheaper too. I think
It was. That's right.
yeah, it was like 400, I think. But
And did you get it? They had like a really short window where you could get it for 400 and free shipping, which was amazing.
yeah, I did get that.
That was the clutch move.
Somebody posted, it was probably you. I think you posted something on there, pre-orders live, good deal. So I just jumped on it real quick.
Yeah, man, that's an amazing cabinet. It's got good variety, and the cabinet looks so good. And then I was a Golden Axe fan, but I had never played Death Adder, so to me, it was that chance to get a part of that arcade history that I never experienced firsthand because my arcade didn't have that game, and I think most people's arcades probably didn't have that game. And to me, that's when this hobby is at its best. Is it's giving us the chance to play the stuff that's really great, but we just hadn't had a chance to discover yet.
Is that Golden Axe cab one that you're going to sell in the future, or are you keeping that one forever?
I mean, you know what it is, man. The 4 players take up more space, so it's always on the chopping block, but I doubt I'll ever sell it unless like the PCB fries or whatever, and I can't get a replacement. But back to our earlier conversation. But no, man, I think I'm going to keep it. It's one I consistently play quite a bit, and I like the game selection. I do wish it had Shadow Dancer, though.
Yeah, I think that's on the II Arcade, I believe.
It is, and it doesn't come with. I don't think it's part of the 10 games, but I would recommend. I think it's $7.99. I paid for it, and it's one of my favorite games.
I was playing that on the MVSX, actually. I got the high-low running.
Dude, keep it down. You're going to get us shut down talking about this contraband. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Tell me about your experience, because I don't own an MVSX. They sent me one to review, but I didn't get to keep it, and which I think is dumb, but that's fine. I'm going to have my self-interested opinion on that, and that's cool. But I never had the chance to do High-Low X. So how do you like that?
I think it was a game changer. I mean, I love the MVSX even before that, which is the 50 games.
Right.
But I'm like a huge, King of Fighters fan, Fatal Fury. I love all those games. So even before that, the High-Low is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's a shame, that got shut down, but it's understandable,
Yeah, we don't need to rehash that. I already did a few videos on it, but I kind of felt like both sides had a reasonable perspective. I think it was unfortunate timing for PR purposes for probably everyone involved. But just because there was already heat kind of on John, and then this happened. And I'm not saying, John should have shut it down. I kind of get it if you're competing. And what's funny, and I don't know if I mentioned this in my YouTube, and I won't mention names here because it just is what it is. It's not my business. But there were a couple of YouTubers in our niche. It was a similar thing where they were doing things that weren't exactly per terms of service, and one of them gets busted, and the other one says, what the hell, this other guy does it too. And I thought that was kind of wrong, but again, I can still even kind of understand that, because if you can't do it and your competition can, and you're playing by uneven rules, like the human instinct is going to chop some asses on that one, right? Like you're going to be kind of salty. So it's the same kind of thing, it's competition. It is what it is.
Yep. Yeah. But I forget, do you have the MVSX? I know you reviewed it earlier.
No, so that's what I was saying earlier. So they sent it out originally, and they only had like 2 or 3 review units. And so it was like his daisy chain. I'd receive it.
You signed it?
Yeah, I did. I never found out what happened with that. I thought they were going to auction them off for charity, but I never heard about it. But yeah, so I signed it, which was weird because I had never, I'm used to signing my real name, not Unqualified Critics. So I had to go practice. Like, how the hell am I going to sign? I've never written this on paper. It's just this name on YouTube. I don't know how to sign it. So I had to like come up with what I thought was a cool signature, but it was kind of fun.
Nice. MVSX is awesome. I just wish they would have, had better buttons and sticks on there. But overall, I love the look of it too.
And I feel like I was out on a limb on that one because I didn't mind the buttons, and I thought the sticks were pretty good. But I know a lot of people disagreed with that. But that was just my view. My beef was I never felt like I got to really get the full experience, because when we reviewed them, they didn't have the pedestal. So you have the MVSX with the pedestal. You got the whole deal, right? So you could stand up with it. So I didn't have that. And I don't have anywhere in my house other than like a kitchen table where I can set like a tabletop arcade. So I'm always hunched over looking like Gollum from Lord of the Rings trying to play this stupid And so I didn't get like a great experience on it, which was just my fault. I didn't have a good setup. I really wanted to play it with the pedestal, but I was a fan of the look of it, like you. I love that marquee, man. I've never seen even light distribution like that.
Yeah,
It was
and it
amazing.
is quality. You know that MVSX has the same issue as a legacy cab, though. If you're playing that standing up, you can't see the top of the screen.
Interesting.
But I know there's some third parties selling risers for it. But
yeah, Bobby Vu, I think, has a
Yeah.
really nice looking one on Facebook for anybody who needs that. Did you go that route? Did you get a riser?
Not yet. No, I still need to get one.
You know they're doing an official one, right?
But I think I've read actually MVSX, they're coming out with their own riser too.
Yep.
I saw something. I think
They're doing an
out with
official.
as well.
So the official riser, last I heard, will be out, and like it should be any time now, maybe a couple weeks. And yeah, they are doing a stool as well. So the riser, I think, is slightly shorter than Bobby Vu's. So take that for what it's worth. It might be like 3 inches versus 4. So you can kind of figure out what you think would work best for you. But again, I missed all that because I never even had it on the pedestal. But I see what you mean, because the top itself, like the top unit, is overall shorter than even like an Arcade1up's normal top unit. Like there's just, it's more compressed.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think with the riser, I think it's, it'd make a huge difference. I'll definitely have to look into that, picking one of those up.
So did you end up replacing your sticks and buttons on it?
Nah, I haven't. That's another project I got to do. I got to replace those still.
Do you know what you're going to go with in terms of like brand?
I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I don't know. Is there something recommended? Like what's?
No, I mean, I think it's a lot of it's personal preference. Like people come out and say this brand's better than the other, and we all kind of have our preferences. But when I interviewed, shoot, it's terrible, I'm forgetting his name, but the gentleman from Unico who was on the Hilo team, everyone watching this knows what I'm talking about. I can't think of his name, which is terrible.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, great guy. It's slipping my mind right now. But when I interviewed him, I asked him if an IL stick would fit, because there's not a lot of room. Like you have like, let's say this much room at the front lip of the cabinet. And then obviously it closes off on the bottom, and then you got your pedestal. And he said he wasn't sure. He was going to see if it fits or not. But I've been told Sandwalls fit in it pretty well. So that's probably going to be an easy, switch if you need to do it.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to swap those out. But the buttons, I feel like the buttons are probably even worse than the sticks on there. But
yeah, well, again, I didn't mind them too much, but I know some people like theirs were sticking, which I didn't experience that. But some people had a bad experience with that. But that's what I mean. Going back to earlier when you asked me about replacement parts, like, do I think MVSX has to supply replacement sticks and buttons? No, because it'd be nice if they did, but a lot of people don't even like their sticks and buttons. Plus, anybody can go out and buy replacements, what you're going to do. But man, if Buck Hunter, that cabinet behind you, if those light guns stop working, if the webcam dies on it, forget about it.
I know, and I hear they're very fragile too. Just putting them in the holster, the cameras on them are breaking.
Yeah, have you had any issue with yours, like your guns at all?
I haven't had any issues, no, not really. But I could see how they would break easy, especially like kids playing them or whatever.
That's what I figured too.
I don't have kids, so it's basically just me playing them.
Right, that's how it is for me too. But I know every time I'm pulling them in and out, weird thing to say on a live stream.
I'm always putting them back in there, like super careful.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do what I did with the furniture padding that you put in the bottom of the inside of the cabinet.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, well, and it just that way when it goes in, it's just got a little cushion landing, dude. You're not jostling it around rough every time.
Yeah, I got to do all these little projects in the game room. I'm definitely got a list of stuff I got to do for sure.
And that's the gift and the curse of doing what you're doing on YouTube, because you probably, I mean, I don't know, I run into this. I find that I spend a lot of time on it for YouTube, and then I try to spend a lot of time playing these games for fun. When it comes time to do other things, like, oh, I'm going to tweak this, or I'm almost out of energy on it. Like I don't want to screw with it at that point.
I hear you. Yeah, it's a lot of work for sure.
Have you done any big mod projects with any of those 15 Arcade1ups?
I haven't really. Nah, I'm not like a big modder really. I kind of like just keeping them stock. I know, like in the first batch, like I put in lit marquees and stuff, but other than that, I haven't really done much modding really.
Well, let me ask you this, because I've talked a little bit about pinball, and you asked me about Attack from Mars. And for anybody who's just tuned in the last few minutes, we've got Jason from Third Floor Arcade on. He reviewed He's done a lot of arcade reviews, so check his channel out. But he reviewed the Legacy cabinets recently, the two that are out now, the Street Fighter and the Midway. Overall, likes them. So we're talking a little bit about that. But my question is, do you have a pinball? I don't think you do. If not, why not?
No, I don't have any. I really want that Attack from Mars, but like it's just not available here in the United States.
Yeah. Do you plan to get it though when it's out?
Definitely. I want that Attack from Mars. Yeah.
Nice.
I almost pulled the trigger on the Star Wars pinball, but you know, I missed out on it. It seems like the window to order these is so tight.
I know.
I'm just like, I just have bad luck when it comes to.
Do you think they'll be freely available by, say, fall, Christmas season next year, this coming up year?
I would think so. You know, I don't know. They must be missing out on so many sales. You know, the way
that's why I figured
doing it now, but. I think by Christmas that, you know, I would hope that, you know, all three of those are widely available. Yeah, I definitely want that Attack from Mars. That looks cool.
Did you see where the Star Wars and the Marvel, the playfields are a little bit distorted?
I did hear that. Yeah. And I haven't seen them in person. A buddy of mine has the Marvel, but I haven't actually gone over there and check it out yet. But
oh, you should do that. You ought to. Does he live like local to you?
He's like a half hour away. Yeah.
You should do that and go make a video about it. But from what I've seen, the playfields, well, distorted is probably not the right word, but it's like positioned weirdly high up from the bottom of the table because it's, in my opinion, I think because the table and the assets were never designed for portrait. They were designed for widescreen. And for some reason, you don't get that with Attack from Mars. Now, maybe because they were able to actually scan a real pinball machine and they had a real design reference and it wasn't digital first. But it's ironic that the table based on real machines fits better in this digital pinball than the digital machines. By the way, thanks for the super chat, Steven. You could have said something, man. We would have put it out there, but looks like a CA file. I assume that means Canadian. I'm always amazed at how many Canada is such a small consumer market compared to the US, but they seem to buy a lot of arcades up there, man.
Seems like it, yeah. I know those pinballs are easily attainable up there too.
Yep. It seems like everyone, man, like you probably got little kids that just have them in their backyard. Like they're just free. Here we are scrimping around wanting a pinball, but they just have them freely. So Jason, what's your thought on the Legends Ultimate kind of ecosystem? You've got a Gamer Pro, right?
Yeah, that's all I have. I don't have the, you know, the 3/4 scale machine or the Legends Ultimate, but you know, I'm pretty much new to that. Like I just got that Gamer Pro. I think Walmart was doing like a $99 sale.
I saw that. That was a good deal.
And my first impressions, I'm a huge fan. I think that thing feels pretty good. I think even the sticks and buttons on there feel pretty good.
That's what I heard. So I just have the Legends Ultimate 1.0, and I think they improved. Which those sticks and buttons are not bad, but I think they improved them for the Gamer Pro and maybe even the 1.1. I haven't played it, wouldn't know. But I've heard really good things about the quality of the controls.
Pinball buttons on the side. I actually haven't played
nice.
Pinball on there yet, though. But
well, see, you'll have to check that out, and especially now when you don't have the Arcade1up pinball, and see if it's a good substitute. Clearly, it's not the same as having a dedicated machine in your room, though, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to get the dedicated or the Legends Ultimate. I think that would look pretty good up here, but I don't know. We'll see. You know, we're definitely running low on room. I think I need to get like a pedestal for the Gamer Pro. That's definitely on my list of things I got to get too.
You know, they make those now, right? I think Buy Stuff Store makes them, and I know some others do too.
That. Yeah, I think Michael B did a review on that.
Yeah,
a couple months ago.
Yeah, so I think that's smart. If you've got room in your game room to have like a large TV up on the wall, and you got your pedestal, to me that's a good format for a multi-cade.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, the included games on it aren't, the greatest. It has like Burger Time on there and stuff.
Yeah, right. But Burger Time is trash with the 8-way stick, in my opinion. So it's
I know. You know what? My Arcade1up Burger Time, I still haven't replaced that gate on there. They sent me a gate. I haven't done it yet.
You got to do it, and I even that's not a perfect fix, but it's the octagonal gates that they sent, right?
Yeah. I was in that first batch of Burger Times.
So was I. Yeah, I was. We don't need to rehash the deep lore of my channel, but I was so mad about that, and I couldn't. and I'm not throwing shade on anyone either, because you can miss stuff when you review something, especially if you're trying to get it out, your review out quickly. I've missed stuff. I've reviewed a product and then a week later I thought, damn, I should have shared X or Y, but I just hadn't thought of it yet. So I'm not throwing shade on anyone, believe me, but several people reviewed Burger Time before I got mine. And nobody, as far as I know, noted that the damn joystick gating is wrong. And people would kind of come back and say, it doesn't really matter. No, that's bullshit. It does matter. It's a cabinet with 4 games. If you can't play them correctly, why buy a cabinet with 4 games? So I have an electronically switchable 4-way, 8-way switch. And I got it from a guy. It's just a guy in Germany who builds these on his own. You can 3D print it, put a little motor in. It's powered by an Arduino board. It's pretty simple, but it's slick. And so I'm able to switch actively 4-way, 8-way, and that makes it awesome. And then
it's like a little button you hit.
Yeah, so what you can do is take the button and substitute the 1-player button with you ever seen a 2-in-1 button where it's one round button, but it's got 2 sides that do 2 buttons?
Okay, yeah.
So you do that for player 1, and then player 2 is now an open spot, and so you put the button for that. I didn't do that because I'm like you. I like to leave them stock, so I put the button in the back of the cabinet. So I kind of, again, weird language, but I kind of reach around the cabinet and hit the button, and then it'll pop the joystick from 4 to 8. Awesome experience. The whole contraption probably costs $15 to build, in parts, something like that. I don't know exactly, but that'd be my guess. And actually, to be honest, between you, me, and the folks watching, the plan was to patent that and then get these other arcade companies to license it and put it in their machines. That fell apart for some reasons I probably shouldn't get into on video, but I was really excited to do that. Not even so much for a few bucks in licensing royalties, but because I wanted to get this out there. Because imagine if the Legends Ultimate had 4-way, 8-way, and then you could play Burger Time on it, but it never really went anywhere. And then obviously for some of the viewers, you would know, you can buy, I think Ultimark makes it. I think they call it the Service Stick Pro. It has the built-in mechanism to switch 4-way and 8-way native to the stick. But this is just a restrictor gate that you put into your existing stick and you can switch. So if you ever want one, Jason, I can reach out to the guy that does them. And I don't know if he's still selling them.
Sounds pretty cool, actually. I like that idea.
It's very cool. I did a video on it, and I think like 9 people watched it. It got like 600 views. So nobody cared but me, but I thought it was really slick.
Nice. What do you think of that Burger Time cab overall? The other games on there?
I like it, but when I play it, I think, man, why couldn't we get Ice Cream Factory? I like
Bad Dudes, but the other 2 games on there, yeah.
So you don't. So So I know it's Caveman Ninja, and then what? Karate Champ.
Karate Champ and Bad Dudes.
So I don't mind all those games. I don't love. Can I post a link? I'd buy a pair. Yeah, Michael, post it maybe in like a pinned comment. There isn't really a link to share. This guy doesn't have a storefront. Let me reach out to him and see if he's still selling them. And if he is, I'll put the info and you can reach out to him. But I do recommend it. And check out my YouTube video if you search for it. Again, it's like the worst effing performance of any video I've ever done. But go check it out for 4-way, 8-way, and then it has the link there too. But anyway, so you asked me what I think of the games. I think they're okay. I don't even hate Karate Champ. It's a quirky game, but whatever. It's a cool piece of history. I don't hate Caveman Ninja. A lot of people hate it. I don't mind it. It kind of reminds me of Bonk in terms of the visuals. Totally. And I have a soft spot for that art style.
Turbo graphics.
Yeah, which we should get into that. But man, I'll tell you, I think the 4 games just don't work well together. I think, we're switching between vertical and horizontal. We're switching between 4-way and 8-way. And one of the things I didn't note in that review that really bothered me later was I've got the joystick for player 1 is way over on the left. And you know what I'm talking about if you have that machine, which I know you do, versus centered, which we should have for Burger Time. And they did that just so we could fit in his 4-player for Karate Champ. I honestly think they should have dropped Karate Champ altogether. Done a real, it's like they had this one design that made sense, and then they retroactively said, "Oh, we're going to make Burger Time the marquee title." And when they did that, they should have then redesigned the cabinet and the games list, but they didn't. They just changed the artwork, and that was, I think, their mistake. By the way, we've got a comment for you, Jason. Jason, I'm super big fan of your show. Enjoy watching your video. Any chance of a Frogger challenge video?
Wait, what's that? Chance for Frogger.
Do you see the comment on the
Frogger
screen?
challenge. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea, actually. The only problem with that would be that would end up being like a 20-minute video. If I had Lucy playing that, and me, I don't know. It's a good idea, though. We'll do it.
What are your thoughts on that Frogger cab? Because I wanted it, but I didn't buy it.
You know, I love the way that cab looks. It came with the stool. It has that light up deck protector. I got it over here in the corner. I know I had problems, like, it didn't use the Frogger music. What else was an issue on that? Or something?
Well, it had 4-way and 8-way issues too, which was the reason I didn't buy it. Because Time Pilot, I think, is an 8-way game.
It is, yeah.
And Frogger is a 4-way, and so they go with an 8-way gate.
But overall, I'm a big fan of that cab. I like it. That's one actually I'm not going to sell. I'll probably end up keeping that.
So do you find you can play it with 4-way or with an 8-way stick?
Had no issues on.
Man, you're one of those guys that tells me there's no issues. But, maybe I'm just trash at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really had any issues.
Right on.
But yeah, I like that Frogger cab. I know that cab got a lot of heat. A lot of people hated that cab, but I like it.
That's what's about though, man. Even within individual cabinets, like we were talking about Golden Axe earlier, it's got Wrestle War in it. And that game has a lot of heat. Like everyone, like I had never played Wrestle War, so I was talking about the cabinet in the video, and I said, "Oh, Wrestle War, that's cool. Finally, a wrestling game, that we're gonna get." And everyone said, game's trash. The game sucks. Dude, I kind of like it, and
yeah, I agree. I think Wrestle War is pretty cool. There's definitely a learning curve to it, but once you get it down, it's pretty fun, I think.
I think so too. It's different than a typical wrestling game from the era. And I could see that being frustrating because you expect something, you're not getting it. But I thought it was cool. And I thought the way they do, the way Code Mystics does the scan lines on that cabinet, not for the bezels, where it's got the Wrestle War directions and artwork, that's crystal clear. And then you get to your play field and it's got the scan lines. That felt really immersive.
Yeah, totally.
Somebody pointed out, so Brad mentioned AOU has 4-way emulation, enable it for Burger Time. Yeah, that's a good point. We should have mentioned that. So if you have a Legends Ultimate, you're thinking about it, you can, and I think it might even automatically do this based on the game you're playing, but you can go into your options and set it to 4-way or 8-way. Now it's just a software setting, so it won't register diagonals. So it's going to be better. But I like that physical feedback of a joystick that's just gated correctly. But I agree, it's better than nothing for sure.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know that's new. So yeah, thank you, Brad.
Yeah, there we go, man. We're getting educated from these guys. So do you want to talk about TurboGrafx real quick because you're wearing that shirt?
So TurboGrafx, I was like one of the original. I bought that when it was launched in 1989.
Every town had one kid with the TurboGrafx, so I'm going to guess he didn't have any friends who also had one. It was just you, right?
I didn't know anybody else with TurboGrafx 16.
Exactly. That's how it goes.
I have an older brother, and at the time when that came out, I was only like 7. And so it was more of my older brother, picking that system out. And man, we just I don't know, that's just what we grew up with. And I didn't have the NES growing up. I went from Intellivision to TurboGrafx 16 to Super Nintendo. So
man, that's an interesting route to take.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I never had the NES growing up, but yeah, TurboGrafx, that'll always have a place in my heart. I love that system.
Dude, agreed. I should have worn my Turbo shirt. We should have coordinated this shit. So yeah. That was the thing. I had a very similar experience. It was my older brother had one, and then that became mine. And I knew 0 people with it. My friends were like, I mean, I don't actually remember this, but I'm sure they were like, what the hell is this? Like, where's your Nintendo, you weirdo? Right? I've got my TurboGrafx. And it sold better for many years, or at least a couple years. I don't know if it's many. Hopefully Greg from GRS isn't watching this because he'll come correct me because he knows everything about TurboGrafx. But it outsold Nintendo and Sega in Japan for some period. So it was huge there.
It was way bigger over there in Japan.
Right. And they had in some ways maybe a better games list. But
the marketing in North America, they just couldn't keep up with like Sega and Nintendo.
What about the 1-player control port? What about that? I felt like that was an issue. The fact that it wasn't, all the other competitor consoles are 2-player, and we got a 1-player.
It's called the Turbo Tap.
Oh, I know about Turbo Tap. but you show me somebody who has 5 friends who will play TurboGrafx, and you can get, I bet in the history of humanity that's never been done.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I remember though at launch, I bought Legendary Axe Vigilante, and it came with Keith Courage.
I had Keith Courage and I had Vigilante. Legendary Axe I missed out on, and I was so angry when the mini console didn't come with Legendary Axe,
Yeah.
dude. That's
I don't know
absurd.
what they were thinking. I'm sure it was a license issue, but man, that's probably the best TurboGrafx 16 game.
Yeah, I know,
the
man.
most famous game, I think.
Yep. Well, I would argue Splatterhouse
Yeah,
is
Splatterhouse
famous.
is good.
Yeah. Which, by the way, to bring it back to arcades, I would love to see a Splatterhouse arcade because it was an arcade title.
That would be cool.
I don't think we'll get it, man. But you asked me earlier what games would I want. I've got kind of the games I want that I think they're going to give me. But if you said you can pick any game, then I want basically, yeah, I want basically a Namco cabinet with some of those great 8-way games from that era, and I'd put Dragon Spirit in there too. I like Dragon Spirit a lot.
Yeah, that was a good turbo game, Dragon Spirit.
Yep. Now, did you ever go back and replay NES since you missed out on it as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I had all my friends had it, so I never like went out and bought one, but everybody I knew had the NES, so I didn't really miss out on too much.
Yeah, man, you couldn't swing literally a dead cat. Like they were everywhere. I got my NES secondhand, so that was the first console I got. It wasn't my older brother or my dad; it was me, and I bought it from someone, and I was so excited to get it. And I go to their house, and I was like, "By the way, why are you selling this?" And he said, "Oh, because I got the Super Nintendo." And I didn't even know. I was so young. I didn't even. The first I'd heard of Super Nintendo, and I went from hype for the NES to like, "Oh, damn it, there's a new one." Kind of.
So it's funny going back to TurboGrafx. So I actually just recently sold my entire TurboGrafx 16 collection.
Dude, why you had a killer collection? Why would you do that?
I had like I had like 48 games. But the console itself didn't work. So I sold it broken. I told them it didn't work, but somebody paid. So I sold all the games on Marketplace. I had like 48 games. Somebody paid like $1,500 for 48 games. And then I sold this console itself with the CD attachment for like a couple $100.
I assume your CD didn't work either. I mean, I know those always break.
Yeah, they had some issues.
But you have the mini, right?
I do have the mini, yeah.
Nice. I know it's not the same, but I felt like they did an excellent job with that hardware.
I was so excited to get that mini. That was actually the reason why I sold, the collection. But
there's something to be said for playing it in 720p too. I mean, I know the purists won't like that, but the reality is you could increase the fidelity of the TurboGrafx with that booster pack that you could connect to the back. So it was already kind of part of the DNA of TurboGrafx, but to play it in 720 was nice. I've got my box up on a shelf in front of me, but I love the TurboGrafx mini box. But yeah, man, I think if Arcade1up did basically an 8-way Namco cabinet, I know it's not Pac-Man, I know it's not the super heavy hitters, but I feel like they got to throw us fans a bone. Like I feel like they cater too much to Aunt Ethel at Walmart who does their purchasing, and they need to give us something. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Well, cool, man. Well, before we wrap up, do you have any last words on, I guess, what you would want to see from if they do another iteration on? I know you're mostly happy with the legacy cabinets, but if they do, version 2 next year, what would you want to see different?
The big thing is I think they got to have Wi-Fi on these things, especially if you're playing fighting games. It just opens up a whole new door when you're fighting other people online. It's just so much better with Wi-Fi. That's why that Marvel versus Capcom is so good. Even if they got to charge another $100, I think it's worth it. If they put Wi-Fi.
They don't have to charge another $100 for Wi-Fi. That's not
some Sandwa sticks in there.
That's not happening, brother. They've been pressed pretty hard by Ralph on his streams, and they always say nope. Never doing that again.
I don't think they fared too well on that limited edition Marvel with the fan.
That's what they said, but I mean, I would argue the distribution for it wasn't good. They were only selling it from Arcade1up.com, and at the time, it was like one of the first cabinets I think they sold direct. They sold the original Street Fighter direct, but who cares? You could buy it cheaper at Walmart.
Yeah.
But at the time, their web traffic was way lower than it is now, I'm sure. And I just feel like they didn't give it a good attempt. It didn't say on the box like, oh, Sandwall controls. They didn't really promote it. They just promoted, yellow trim. Who cares? So you might even prefer the blue trim. Who cares? The light up marquee, but at the time that wasn't as big a deal as it probably is now. Yeah. So I would argue they should try that again, but I don't think they will.
I think another thing they should consider is maybe making, how the Star Wars riser was like a couple inches taller?
I do.
I think like for people like us that I mean I feel like the biggest demographic is like adult
Right.
Vietnamese. If they
Has to
had
be.
if they just brought out that that Star Wars riser, for these future cabs, just make it a little bit taller.
Well, why not just A, fix the screen tilt so you can see it, and then B, have the control panel just at the normal height, because the other arcade one ups on a normal non-Star Wars riser, they still have that set height. I don't know what it is, like 30 some inches, but whatever it is,
Yeah.
kind of works for most people. You might want it a little higher, but it kind of works. But why would they go down? I felt like they went backward with that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It is, yeah. They definitely they made these legacy cabs with I guess they just figured everybody'd be sitting down on a stool playing these things, but
Maybe they wanted to sell those stools, but if that's the case, I think you got to bundle it then, because you can't just assume people have it,
Yeah, totally.
Well, cool, man. I think you've got some great ideas. I personally, Wi-Fi doesn't mean as much to me, but I know it's popular. People want it, especially like you said with fighting games. I suspect it's a big part of why X-Men versus Street Fighter and MVC cabs were so popular, even though it was a little bit of re-release. Although I know MVC is a huge title, but I suspect Wi-Fi is part of what made that. And it'd be nice if they did it. I wouldn't even care if you had to pay extra for it and like buy it as an external radio that you're going to hook. I doubt they'd want to do that. It's too complicated. Yeah. But for the extra $15-$20, I think people would rather have that capability.
Totally agree.
Well, awesome, man. Well, very good talking to you, brother. Keep up
thanks for having me on, UC. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Third Floor Art. What's that?
I'm a big fan of your channel. I've been watching for a while.
I appreciate that, man. I like your channel too. You've done some great reviews and you're real good about getting out early with your review content. So definitely people, if you like, and I know probably all of you do, but at least most of you, if you like arcade hardware reviews, do check out 34 Arcade, sub his channel. Sub this channel too if you haven't yet, or I'm coming to that house. My boy 8-Bit Vinyl just came through with a super chat. So let's cover this real quick. Can the marquee and the legacy cabs? That's a good question. Be moved forward. What do you think?
That's another. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I feel like that's a good point there. I think like the X-Men cab and the Killer Instinct, they're gonna have it like that. But I just think it looks a lot better with the marquee, all the way up to the edge. But
if it was all the way up there, would it restrict visibility even more or no?
I think big time. Yeah.
Okay, so that's probably why they did it. But there's a happy medium. Like Burger Time had a lot of dead space too, and I felt like they could have moved it forward slightly. But yeah,
it's true. Yeah, Burger Time was kind of the same way.
It was, yeah, and it didn't get the same heat that these are getting, but it was fewer people had it, so there wasn't going to be as much attention on it. This was really built up with the ad campaign and everything, so I feel like there was just more attention on it than Burger Time.
Totally agree.
All right, brother. Well, listen, thanks for coming on. Thanks for hanging with us, guys. My pleasure, man. Thanks for the kind words. And we'll chat with you soon. We'll have to do this again soon.
Totally. All right, man.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Hey, you too, brother. See you guys. See everybody. Enjoy your Saturday, and we'll catch you later.
All right. See you guys.